Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the show on this. It's Wednesday, November 16th, 2022. Thank you for tuning in. I'm glad to have you guys here. You know, a lot of times we forget what a new and novel invention Bitcoin is. And I'm going to tell you guys, sometimes you don't even want to talk about Bitcoin when the price is going down, 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 and maybe you've invested at higher prices. Where did the thing come from? All of a sudden, back in 2009, this thing appeared from nowhere, this Bitcoin, and it solved some of the most major problems in the technical problems in transferring currency over the internet, trust issues and things like that. Verified ledgers, computer verified ledgers, automated computer verified ledgers. Really, a technological advancement that was so far above. And now, the central banks, they act like they plan to take this thing over with their own central bank digital currencies. So, what I'm going to present before you guys right now is all just theory. But it's things that I think it may perhaps be going on with this new type of money, this new digital money that's never been seen before. First off, where did it come from? There was somebody called Satoshi, or some entity, or some group of people, maybe a group of computer scientists. Possibly was the inventor. Maybe it wasn't even the inventor. Maybe it was just some way or form in which they could release it into the system and claim that somebody invented it. Who knows? But because we've never really found this Satoshi. But we know what a Satoshi is. It's the smallest unit of a Bitcoin, a Satoshi. And perhaps the smallest unit of the currency that will become in the future, the world reserve currency. And let me explain a fundamental reason why I say that. And even though the prices went down a lot on Bitcoin being the premier cryptocurrency, why do I say it could become the world reserve currency when it's so far in the dumps, so far down right now? Well, there's one big, huge fundamental reason. We see all these CBDCs coming, and this is going to push the use and facilitate the use worldwide for transactions in central bank digital currencies. It's going to increase adoption like we've never seen before because people are going to become used to using these and not used to using cash anymore. It's as simple as that. Once the central bank digital currencies come along. The Fed has already decided they're going to pull the plug and they're going to do it. It's called Fed Now. It's like FedCoin. Here it comes, guys. Expect it. But what's the big thing you guys are missing? A lot of you guys are saying, well, this will kill Bitcoin. Why should people use Bitcoin when they could use FedCoin or Fed Now or whatever? Won't Bitcoin just die and won't they just make it illegal and everything else, blah, blah, blah? Well, there's a fundamental thing you guys are missing here about all this. They cannot release these FedCoin without having it on a parallel to the dollar. This is huge. In other words, if they're going to go to a digital dollar, a central bank digital dollar, central bank digital currency, which is basically the digital dollar, it has to be dollars. I mean, what else are they going to make it? Here in the United States, if they bring out a central bank digital currency, are they going to make it yen? Or are they going to make it Swiss francs? No, they're going to make it dollars because that's what we have here. They have to make it parallel to the dollar. So that they can integrate it into the system to make it function. It won't function. So it's going to be very similar to what you see already in the cryptocurrencies when you look at something like these token coins that are equal or parallel with the dollar. You know, the ones on there. They stick to the dollar. The dollar goes up a penny, they go up a penny, and they stay basically 99 cents or a dollar. They're pegged to the dollar. It's going to be very much like those, and those are used a lot. But it's going to be a legitimate system connected to the Fed that does the exact same thing. It connects itself to the dollar. Well, we all know what's happening with the dollar. And we all know the eventuality with the dollar. And as far as I see it, when the Fed releases their digital dollars, it's going to be a continuation of the downward spiral of the value and purchasing power of the dollar. And it's going to increase it at a much faster rate. And I believe, truthfully, it's their plan to subsidize the poor with programs that they probably can't even run now, programs like UBI, Universal Basic Income, because if you guys don't know what that is, basically giving people money just for being alive. But they have to do this because they're slowly but surely destroying the economy. And we've got millions of people in America who can't pay their power bills, cannot pay their rent. And it's going to increase. And when it starts to get up into not just tens of millions, but maybe even up toward 100 million or more people that just can't afford to live, the cost of living, and social programs have to increase. They're forced to increase. Otherwise, basically, these people will riot if they don't have food to eat. They're going to have to support them. And this is, I think, all part of the plan, is to be able to connect them directly to the Fed and send them a stimmy check once a month. What's this going to do to the dollar? I mean, we've already seen a tremendous erosion of the dollar because of the national debt, and them just continuing to take out more and more debt and get the country in deeper and deeper. Now it's over $31 trillion. So a continuation, and this is going to continue the spiral downwards of the purchasing power of the United States dollar. So now what we have is the United States dollar denominated in a Fed coin. It's the same as the same old. It's the same as them printing dollars, but now they can just create them digitally. They just have a little bit more control, that's all. But at the same time, it gets people used to these tokenized currencies and being able to send currency across the internet seamlessly, which Bitcoin can very well do. So what happens next? Well, you're going to have, and Bitcoin has always been a deflationary currency. And this is a very interesting aspect of Bitcoin that is not like these fiat currencies, which have always been inflationary. It means that as years progress, they're always worth less and less and less as time progresses. This is how it functions. This is how their system functions. And so if they create their new central bank digital currency, it's going to be following this same structure of inflation. But side by side, you have these decentralized cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin that are deflationary. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean it's set up directly in the Bitcoin system, right in the ecosystem, how it's mined itself, that there's always going to be less and less Bitcoin out there instead of more and more and more. Like there is digital dollars, there's going to be more and more and more created. This is what makes it inflationary, because they're always making more of them. Increasing the amount of them is following what markets always do. When you have something that's plentiful, it's always worth less. If you have a record crop of apples one year and you got apples overflowing the market, the price is going to come down. But if you have a bad year and farmers don't produce enough apples for the population, the price is going to increase. Well, it's the same way with currencies. If you create overabundance of a digital currency, it's going to be worth less and less and less. And if you create not enough, it's going to be worth more and more and more. Now, that's what happens with Bitcoin. Every 4 years, they have what's called a halving, which basically means there's only half as much Bitcoin as there was 4 years earlier. So every 4 years, it's cut in half the amount of Bitcoin. This is what makes it deflationary. Now, I do understand that Bitcoin surged up to like $68,000, and it's fell all the way down to about $16,500 where it stands today. But look at the big picture, guys. Bitcoin started at a nickel, and then it was worth a dime, and then it was worth like $10, and then it was worth like $200, and then 2,000, and then 4,000, and 8,000, 16. Yes, it surged up to 20,000, and then it fell back down again. It's done that a number of times. It surges up higher than it should be, too prematurely, and then it falls down. And when it falls down, all the people that got interested in it when it was up high, they all take a beating, and they don't ever want to look at it again. They get very upset with it. They say like, hey, you know, we're discouraged. The lower it goes, the more discouraged they get. The more people are discouraged by it. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't see the overall picture, which is that it keeps increasing in value. So right now it's worth 16,500. Do you guys remember a time not that long ago when Bitcoin surged up to 20,000? Well, we're near 20,000 right now. And it was considered to be the hottest commodity out there because it surged up from like $3,500 all the way up to 20,000. But what you can see by this is this factor of that Bitcoin becomes worth more and more as time progresses, and the dollar is just on the opposite trend. Now lately, they've been creating an artificial restriction in the amount of dollars out there. They've been raising interest rates, and they've been pulling liquidity out of the system, the central bank, which is creating an artificial period right now that we're in, where they're restricting the flow of dollars and creating, like Brent Johnson talks about with the milkshake theory. It's happening right now. It's not going to last forever, though, because they can't keep this up forever. It's very limited. This is why we talk about something called a Fed pivot. Well, you guys can't see what's happening is that we're coming down for lows in the cryptocurrency space, and ultimately after we're done making these lows, it's going to coincide with a period in time when the dollar is going to go back to inflation and perhaps even hyperinflation again. And what's going to be the dollar? The central bank digital currency by then. So we're talking about a hyperinflating central bank digital currency that teaches the people how to use central bank digital currencies so that they come to accept them as a part of their everyday payment structures and payment systems. This is the perfect storm for a resurgence into the non-government controlled currencies like Bitcoin, the decentralized ones. And we don't know who created these and for what purpose. Perhaps the purpose was ultimately when the dollar becomes destroyed. That would be a very nice scenario for them to go up, to explode the prices like you've never seen before. So I'm just saying, don't give up on Bitcoin, because the ultimate plan by groups behind the scenes, and some of them are good guys and some of them are bad guys. You know, I think they call it white hats and black hats or whatever, but forget about hats. I don't know about hats. All I know is behind the scenes that when we talk about the government, we're not all referring to the same person. We're referring to different people out there with different agendas. Some of their agendas are bad, some of their agendas are good. And there's an awful lot of intrigue and mystery that goes on behind the scenes. And I believe that cryptocurrencies are part of this mystery and intrigue. They were created for a purpose, and ultimately they haven't disappeared from the scene. They're still there, still available to buy, but it's almost like you're placing your bets, and what you're looking for is a trifecta, you know, and you might just see that trifecta at some point in the future. Hang in there, you know. I mean, it's an awful lot. I think it's an awful lot safer bet than going out and putting your money on the lottery. I mean, how many people bought those Powerball tickets or whatever? Yeah, you did have a winner, but I mean, most people lost. I mean, I think it's like you're never going to get a 1-to-1 ratio back on your investment in the lottery, but you're always going to get it to be a loser. But at some point, you could make 10 to 1, 100 to 1, even 1,000 to 1 in cryptocurrency. It's been done. And it's been done in the past, and it can be done in the future too. So we're weathering through this storm, and we're getting toward the end of what's been a long bear market in these cryptocurrencies. And this is always the time not to get scared. When others are scared, that's when you should be brave. Also, remember, don't invest more than what you can afford to lose in cryptocurrencies. Don't put up the farm on them. Anyway, I'm just talking. I figured I'd get on here and just talk about it today because I think it's going to be ready to turn pretty soon. Like I said, there's a solid floor underneath Bitcoin at just above mining production costs. And yes, there is a mining production cost for Bitcoin. Well, thank you guys for listening to my show. Like and subscribe. And we'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.